The owner of the troublesome grocery store, Yuji, approached every customer who came to the store seeking advice with an attitude that could not be ignored, earnestly answering their questions. He even posted interesting questions and answers, gradually gaining popularity. After answering a question from a woman who was married and pregnant, he later learned that she had died in a car accident. This made him reflect on the advice he had given her and what impact it might have had. So, on the 33rd anniversary of his death, he asked his son to send out a message announcing the revival of the troublesome grocery store, wanting to know how those who had received his answers at the time were faring. At midnight on September 13th, he mysteriously arrived at the grocery store, received letters from the future, learned that his answers had saved others, and left contentedly. And on this day, 33 years later, at midnight, the counseling window of the grocery store began its resurrection, blending the past and present together. Kota, Atsuya, and Kohei grew up in the Maruko kindergarten. They, who were struggling in work and life, decided to go to Harumi's house to steal on September 12th after hearing that she wanted to turn Maruko kindergarten, where they were sheltered, into a love hotel. After looting, the three men ended up in an abandoned house on their way out, which turned out to be the troublesome grocery store. This house could receive letters from the past, engaging in conversations between the present and the past, and weaving heartwarming stories. The first letter came from a girl named Tsuki Asagi in 1979. She was a candidate for the fencing Olympics. Before the selection, her boyfriend was hospitalized due to cancer. Tsuki Asagi was torn between accompanying her lover and continuing her training. As they already knew that the 1980 Olympics had been cancelled, the grocery store suggested that Tsuki Asagi give up training and focus on accompanying her boyfriend. Tsuki Asagi later realized in her letter that her confusion and hesitation stemmed from her inner longing for the Olympics. After understanding this, she told her boyfriend that she loved him more than anyone else and wanted to be with him forever. If giving up the competition could make him better, she would not hesitate to do so. But if not, she hoped to pursue her dream. After hearing this, her boyfriend said that seeing her troubled for him made him sad, and making the deeply loved one give up her dream was more painful than death. Even if separated by distance, our hearts are together. Before he passed away, Tsuki Asagi happened to visit him while resting. He said to Tsuki Asagi, "Thank you for bringing me dreams," and passed away with a sense of contentment. Tsuki Asagi felt very satisfied. Although she did not participate in the Olympics in the end, she gained something more valuable than a gold medal. This is a story about the sublimation of love, where love is not about demanding but fulfilling. The second letter came from Matsugan Kuro, whose ancestors ran a fish shop. Kuro was very fond of music and dropped out of university to pursue a career in music. But because of his lack of talent, he was never appreciated and could only be an amateur singer. The family situation was currently very bad, with his father seriously ill and the fish shop on the verge of closing. One day, his father fainted in the shop, and Kuro thought about taking over the shop, but his father insisted that he follow his dreams and fight in Tokyo once again, even if it ended in defeat. At this time, Atsuya and others from the grocery store found Kuro's song, Rebirth, would eventually spread, and told Kuro to continue pursuing his musical dream. His pursuit of music was definitely not in vain, making him believe until the last moment of his life. With the answers from his father and the grocery store, Kuro continued to strive in Tokyo, but still remained unknown. Later, he was invited to sing for the children at the orphanage, where he was burned to death trying to save the little brother of Chio. And his song, Rebirth, was later held by the talented singer Chio, to repay her brother's life-saving grace, singing this song at every concert, and passing on this song. This is a story about family love, the father's unconditional support, although the words are not pleasant, but the absolute trust and encouragement to his son. This is a story about persistence. Although the dream is distant, but never give up, this is a story about gratitude. Thanks for letting my brother be reborn, and continue to pursue the unfinished dream of an amateur singer. The third letter returns to Grandpa Yuji. This time, the letter comes from a woman named Kawabata Midori, asking whether she should have a child with her married lover. Because she has a difficult birth constitution, she divorced last time because of infertility, and she is now pregnant and very hesitant. Grandpa Yuji told Midori that the most important thing was whether the unborn child could be happy. Even with both parents, the child is not necessarily happy. So, if you are prepared to endure anything for the sake of the child's happiness, whether you have a husband or not, you should have the child. The child was born, but on the way to the hospital, Midori, who had long been anemic due to hunger, lost consciousness and fell into the sea. After falling into the sea, the awakened Midori used her last strength to open the window next to the child, hoping she could be rescued safely. However, her safety belt was never untied in time. The daughter who learned the truth, wrote a thank you letter to the grocery store 30 years later, thanking the store owner for the advice to her mother and for bringing her into the world. This is a story about the greatness of maternal love, about cherishing life, and about responsibility. The fourth letter comes from a child named Hiroshi. When Hiroshi was in middle school, his family environment was very good. His parents provided him with luxurious audio equipment for his love of the Beatles. But the good times didn't last long. Due to his father's mismanagement of the company, they had to go into hiding to escape debts. During this period, there were frequent arguments at home, and his audio equipment was sold. Troubled Hiroshi wrote a letter to Grandpa Yuji at the grocery store, explaining that he was feeling very sad and didn't know what to do. Grandpa Yuji told Hiroshi that the most important thing was for the family to stick together through tough times. On the night when Hiroshi fled with his parents, unable to bear his parents anymore, he got onto a truck and changed his name to Hiroshi Fujikawa. Unable to contact Hiroshi's parents and afraid of being chased for debts, Hiroshi, whose identity couldn't be verified, was sent to an orphanage and lived under the name Fujikawa Hiroshi. When Hiroshi grew up and returned to the area, he passed by a Beatles-themed bar and, through the owner's introduction, inferred that his parents, on the night he left, staged a news story of a family of 3 committing suicide, fearing it would affect his life. This is why others couldn't obtain his information. It turned out his parents had been protecting him all along, even at the cost of their lives. This is a story about family love, and its theme is protection. The fifth letter comes from a girl named Harumi, using the pen name Lost Puppy. She was the director of the orphanage that the 3 boys kidnapped. When Harumi was young, she wanted to make money and eventually become financially independent by opening her own store. To quickly achieve this goal, she worked as a clerk in the company during the day and went to the bar to entertain at night. In her letter, Harumi mentioned that at that time, there was a man who offered to assist her in opening a store if she agreed to be his lover. Harumi hesitated whether to accept. Seeing this stubborn person, the 3 boys guided her to see through the scam and encouraged her to study stocks, real estate, and other fields affected by future economic changes. In the end, Harumi made a lot of money. As dawn approached, in the corner of the bag, the 3 boys found a thank you letter written by Harumi to the grocery store. It turned out that Harumi was the lost puppy they had helped. At the end of the story, the 3 boys received a reply on the blank paper they had written to the troublesome grocery store. The letter said, if the people who come to seek advice are likened to lost lambs, they usually have a map but don't look at it, or they don't know their location. And your map is a blank sheet of paper, which means even if you know the destination, you don't know the way. However, in reverse, it is precisely because of this blank sheet of paper that you can freely sketch your own path. I sincerely wish you to believe in yourself and burn your life without regrets.